Order. The next call is a split call. Order. The next call is a split call. Jan Logie, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to take a call on the second reading of the KiwiSaver Budget Measures Bill. And this traditionally in Parliament, second readings are a time when we reflect on the select committee process, where we feed back what submitters have raised with the committee, and after consideration and debate within the committee, we reflect on those discussions in the House and the amendments to the bill that have happened as a result of that. Of course, because again this is happening under urgency, this speech isn't able to be as fully developed as it would have been otherwise. And the public hasn't had that opportunity to have input. So what I would like to focus on in this speech really is the few comments I have been able to gather from people in New Zealand through Facebook on their views on this initiative. Some actual submissions. So that's what I'm going to do in this speech. And the first one is actually not necessarily it's not necessarily disagreeing with the government's view and what they're doing here in this, is they're saying, and this is an academic who I know, who's saying, I'm in mixed minds. I think it's very disappointing they have further downgraded the incentive for people to save for their old age. But at the same time, I'd be interested in seeing the demographics of those enrolled in KiwiSaver to know whether the kickstart was effectively operating as a wealth transfer from the poor to the rich, in which case removing the kickstart would bother me less than if it was operating the other way. Now, I'd like to see that evidence from the government so that actually this country and this Parliament can make a considered decision around that. Some of the other comments from now on aren't, they're a bit clearer on their view about this initiative. They're saying, Brenda Pilot, ex-head of the PSA, it's an inexplicable move. We're told that it's vital people create savings for their retirement, and KiwiSaver has been a great success, partly due to this incentive. Makes no sense to cut it. Another person, Jacob, saying, I feel like it's making things harder for us future generations to save up for housing and retirement. This was a positive boost from the government, which I saw as a good incentive to join. But now I'm like, why join? I might as well just put my money into a savings account and then I can use it when I want, however I want, and it won't be there for retirement. Another person saying, before KiwiSaver was introduced, I'd never saved a cent in my life. I decided to join because of the Kickstarter and have now got a tidy wee sum accumulating every month, and I feel proud of that. So the incentive, the Kickstarter, was an incentive for somebody to save for the first time in their life. And that is backed up by policy advice from Inland Revenue. Another person was saying they should have given 3 months for those of us who were halfway through the paperwork for our kids to have a chance to get this incentive. And so the fact that this has been brought in without any notice means that some people were halfway through the paperwork to get this incentive for their children and they've missed out. So again, as raised by my colleague, I'd like to hear the justification for that. And we've heard from the government that they're saying, well, 2.5 million, I think, people have signed up. Really, how many more people are going to do it? Well, some people were halfway through doing it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And now somebody else is saying on that point again, glad I took advice from the bank when I opened up an account for my daughter, but I hadn't got onto it for my baby. Gutted she missed out. And one other person saying, yeah, working for the people, huh? Note the kids these days just got set back yet another grand to buy that house they'll never have because some old dudes in Parliament wanted a teeny surplus. Pathetic. So, and another person saying, so this cut's going to fund our $200 million fight against ISIS. What are you not telling us, John? So these are some of the views of New Zealanders. And again, we're being told by this government that there's no choice but to do this if they're going to be fiscally responsible. It's interesting what they focus on and what they're not focusing on in that discussion.
The Honourable Damien.